Welcome, dear students. Myself, Dhruv Saxena. I'm from the Department of Civil Engineering, Engineering College Ajmer. So, with this course module, I will be starting the subject of disaster management. And in the first lecture, we will be discussing about the objectives, aim, scope, and outcome of this course. What are objectives? What are the things that we need to cover? What is the scope of about the course, and what will be the outcome? What does university wants, that what should be the outcome of this course from you, that what you will be learning over the time. So for other students who are watching this video, so this entire syllabus is based upon the Rajasthan Technical University and Bikaner Technical University open elective system. So this is the open elective for 8th semester. So when the comes about disaster management, so these are some of the keywords which come into the mind on the international level. What do you understand by disaster management? Whenever someone says this term, whenever there is this term in the news, whenever in any sort of media you hear this term, this is not the first time that we are studying disaster management. We have studied it multiple times even in our school days, where there were special courses or special chapters with regards to disaster management. Even some of you might have experienced some of the drills as part of this course, in which your teacher, your faculty would have created some sort of event in which you have participated, or some persons from other bodies outside your school might have come and explained you some of the things. So these are some of the words that generally pop up in minds of people when we say the term disaster management. Okay, what are some of the major types of disasters, like earthquake, floods, forest fires, other type of fires, droughts, any type of other events such as cyclone, tsunamis. So it might also be possible that there are man-made failures or man-made disasters which lead to failures in terms of economy of the particular state, about people, the loss of life. So there are multiple types of disaster. So talking about syllabus, I have projected the entire syllabus, the major part, in this slide. So this is based upon the 7th semester open elective system of disaster management. So these main 3 units, so these cover most of the part, be it your any semester or any course, it must be related to disaster management. The first, you need to understand about the basic definitions, about the objective, scope and outcome. Understanding the disaster, what are different types of disaster, what are different concepts of risks and levels, what do you understand by hazards, vulnerabilities, classification of natural and man-made hazards, then what are the different characteristics and damage potentials for different type of disasters. Then in general we study about various types of disasters, which include natural disasters as well as man-made disasters. So these things, as a common man and as a student, we all know, we have heard some or other places these terms, but in point, when you are studying this course, you should be well versed with the concept, what is related to each of this term. So for that, I hope that you will be continuously watching my series and attempting the assignments which I give you. Follow the quizzes that I take in time to time during the course of the semester. Okay. So overall we will be able to learn the key terms. Then coming to next unit, that is hazard assessment. So again there are just some new terms which we will be going through. There is nothing to worry about, such as dimensions of vulnerability factors, vulnerability assessment, then vulnerabilities with regards to flood and earthquake hazards. And keep it in mind that whatever terms specifically which are written in this syllabus might directly come in your paper. Why I have taken this particular semester based course is just because there has been a university exam for this conducted recently in the last month. Earlier there was no such system of open elective in the university, so this was the first time. And all of you might have seen the question papers. I will share it again in our various classrooms. So you might have seen that in two parts there was a particular question asking about vulnerabilities related to flood and earthquake hazards. So you can understand what is the weightage given to each and every term of this particular syllabus. Then it has been mentioned about capacity building. What are the concepts related to structural and non-structural measures? So we will be covering all these topics in detail in the course in the upcoming lectures. Now these were some of the units which are most common in all the branches, be it chemical engineering, be it agriculture, be it textile engineering. Okay, so these are some of the common points, and there is a slight difference in the last two units. So as in the case of civil engineering 7th semester, you can see there is a difference that a great emphasis has been given to Disaster Management Act and policy that has been implemented in India. What is the organizational structure and what is the preparation of state and district disaster management plan. There are some case studies which need to be studied. Okay, and if we talk about any other syllabus, let us take this example of 8th semester textile engineering based disaster management. So the first three units remains the same that has been covered in all the branches on the course of disaster management. The slight difference comes in the last two units. For example, in this one there is a special focus on man-made disasters, and that too specifically with regards to textile processing industrial hazards. What are some of the hazards with regards to textile industries? Then what is the role of management in mitigating disasters in Indian textile industries? What is the role of production people in disaster management? Okay, so these are some two key units that are different, rest are the same. So through this we will be covering all the units for even this textile and even the civil engineering. Through this course we will be covering each and every point. The most important reason to cover all the points is you don't know that what type of question paper, what type of questions the examiner might ask. Since it's an early stage, the system of open elective in this university, so there might be some new questions next time. So we have to prepare for each and everything. Now for the preparation of this course, what I'll suggest you basically follow firstly the lectures that I put up on YouTube. Okay, so it is important that you follow these lectures. Why I am sharing these recorded videos? Because you can see and learn through these videos at your pace, at your time. Okay, whatever time is available. We know that we are going through COVID-19 situation again. The lockdown has taken place. There might be multiple things at your home that you might be engaged into. Secondly, the important things will be the PPTs, the PDFs that I will be sharing with you. These will be covering details about all these major units. Okay, so during before the exam, I hope that you will be going through these lectures and these PPTs and PDFs as and when time permits you. Third thing are the assignments. Now these assignments will be carrying some weightage although, but the most important focus point of giving you assignments is giving you a task. Okay, this is basically a task. What type of task? For example, let us say I ask you to write about vulnerability with regards to, let us say, forest fires, or what will be the disaster management strategy with regards to tsunami or cloud burst, like in this case. So what you have to do, you will be doing those assignments with the help of internet. It is easily accessible by all. Okay, so you can simply do some Google search. You can visit various organizations' website. and you can find out and write your answers crisply, as I will also give you the rules for the assignment at the later stage. Fourth thing are the quizzes that I will be taking from time to time internally. Okay, and we also will be having some live sessions each week in which we will be clarifying doubts regards to assignments and lectures, and if anything else you want to ask. Okay, so these are my 5 takeaways from this course. These 5 rules, if you follow, you will be scoring very good, and trust me, when you will see the paper that has come in the 7th semester university exam of disaster management, you will really feel that the subject is very scoring. You can score a really good percentage in this last semester. Okay, and it also has a good amount of weightage, that is 150 marks. Okay, so it will be a good marks builder in your overall performance. Okay, now what are some of the objectives and aim of disaster management? So let us quickly have a look. What is the major focus? Okay, now there cannot be a single model or approach towards management of disasters. Okay, it is an evolving process. So thus the objective of disaster management comprises of these 6 elements, that are the pre-disaster phase, that includes prevention, mitigation and preparedness. While the post-disaster phase, it includes response, rehabilitation, reconstruction and recovery. Now, although the actions taken to address a specific disaster vary depending on hazard to hazard, but there are 4 major objectives. Okay, first one is to reduce damages and deaths. Second one is to reduce personal suffering. Third one is to reduce or increase the recovery speed. And next, fourth one, last but not the least, is to protect the victims. Now there are some keywords here. I would request you, if you can maintain a notebook separate, and whenever I say during the video, you can write just those things. Don't copy each and everything, because I will be sharing these same slides with you. So for example, from here you can take like disaster management is an evolving process. It is not a static process, or a single model doesn't applies to each and every disaster. For example, the method to manage the disaster of earthquake will not be the same as that of cloudburst. Okay. Next, I discussed about some 6 elements: prevention, mitigation, preparedness, response, rehabilitation, reconstruction, recoveries, and then I discussed about 4 objectives. So these are some of the major key terms with regards to disaster management. You can write them once. You can also search them on internet once. You will find different things with respect to disaster management only. And just to elaborate a little more, I will be covering these specific terms in detail in coming lectures, because these contribute to the major pillars of disaster management. Okay. So these are the 4 pillars that I was talking about. We say them 4 pillars. What are these 4 pillars? Preparedness, mitigation, response and recovery. These all are interconnected, and earlier in India specifically, before the Bhuj earthquake, it was a scenario that we used to take action after the disaster has taken place. But mainly after the Bhuj earthquake, mainly after the tsunamis, we have learned that we need to prepare ourselves for any type of disaster in that particular area, and we need to provide mitigations to the local people, to the local infrastructure there. How can we mitigate that particular disaster? Then in terms of response, we will learn how to respond actively during the time of earthquake and near after the time of earthquake. And the recovery stage consists of how you will be recovering from that, all the losses. It may be losses in terms of damages, loss of lives. So how you will be providing the recovery for that particular area in the long term. So now you can understand that these 4 pillars are all interconnected. Okay. It is not that they are working separately. These all things are interconnected, and it constitutes to the 4 pillars of disaster management. So it will be a focus. Even if we are talking about textile engineering, in the textile industries as well, we need to take care of these 4 pillars. The concept, major concept remains the same. It's just that the key aspects or the specifics with regards to textile industries, they will change. Okay. Now there are some more objectives. I would request all of you to pause this video, read these points, and then again resume this video. I will be giving such slides where I will ask you continuously to pause, read by yourself, because a good learning only happens with 3 things: reading, then your writing, or if possible then audio visual, use of audio visuals. So this will enhance your learning. I hope you have read these points or just gone through it. I will go through some of the points, like applying efficient, effective, sustainable relief methods in terms of food, shelter, money, then medical facilities in terms of disaster affected people, then reducing the damage, deaths, sufferings, protection to victims, building up capacity in every sector, okay, ensuring availability of local emergency equipments and transportation. Next we have some more points like achieving quick recovery from disaster. We need to plan in the long term for particular disaster. Let us talk about earthquakes itself. So from the Bhuj earthquake, what we learned that we need to designate different areas based upon the possibility of earthquakes happening in that zone. So our country, that is India, it has been divided into 5 zones. Students of civil engineering might have learned this in their concepts of RCC, design of structures, design of concrete structures. Okay, so there are 5 zones depending upon the possibility of earthquake. So for example, if a area is designated into zone 5, it means that it has a very high chance of having a earthquake followed by a huge disaster, okay, and zone 1 will be comparatively less prone to earthquakes, okay. So this is how we developed the codes, various Indian standard codes. We don't need to specifically go into those codes, but we need to understand that these all things come under the concept of preparedness, okay. So long term planning is part of it. Another example I can take is of Kedarnath. So Kedarnath experienced a huge amount of cloudburst. We in the post disaster analysis, we understood various things, that what were the faults or what are the improvements that we can do to prevent any of such disasters at any other places in near future, okay. So we developed ourselves, we learned from our whatever mistakes or whatever new possible things that we can do to avoid such disasters. Next we have increasing availability, safety of natural resources, creating awareness. So this is the most popular thing. That is the reason that all of us are well aware about various type of disasters and disaster management tactics, because from the school time the government tries to help the people by making them aware. For example, you might have learned that there are some techniques: you should not stand near the wall, or you should go into open space in case of earthquake. You should hide under a table or a bed, so that if any heavy infrastructure from top falls, it might not hurt you. So these were some of the things. Now again and again there are traffic safety awareness programs in which the traffic police helps people by awareing themselves about the hazards that are possible on the road. Now that comes into man-made disaster. Doesn't matter, but the major thinking remains the same, okay. Now giving warning before disaster. Now where this is prominently held. Now warnings are generally given, you might have followed the news, if you might have followed the news, you know that generally IMD, that is the weather forecasting body of government of India, so it provides warnings to various fishermen who have went to the oceans to catch fishes, and in case of any of cyclones, or let us say uh, tidal high tides, or any sort of different type of disaster that might occur, so they warned all these fishermen through various means and call them back that please stay, let this disaster happen, let it not hurt you, and you may go at a later stage. Okay, so these are some of the objectives of the disaster management. Now again, as I said, that all these things are interconnected, so this is the slide which depicts the same. Now let us say there is a disaster that has taken place. Okay, what will be the response? So response will be the emergency planning of government. What will be the supplies? For example, recently floods have taken place in the eastern part of India. So how the military, how the various disaster management, disaster response bodies, how they provide the supplies. Now, what are the possible forecasts and warnings? What are the preparedness by the bodies, by the people there? Okay. Then after response to the disaster comes the recovery stage. So this is the transitional housing. What does it mean? Transitional housing, it means that for the time being, when the disaster has completely, like for example floods, the water has completely flown away, and for the meanwhile the people need a place to stay, some food to eat, and carry out their daily life. So some transitional housing is provided. Then comes reconstruction. So in reconstructions, what we can do, like for example in case of floods, we can request, or we can create some zoning, building zoning, land zoning laws, which which demands from the people that they don't live in low-lying areas in that particular zone. Because let us say if there is a low-lying area and people are building houses there, so as and when the river overflows or the sea overflows or there is heavy rain, these low-lying areas will be the first one to be flooded. So there might be some of the laws that might be developed by the various state governments and the central government, and the administration might implement by improving the land use, by improving the building codes. Okay. Next comes the mitigation. So mitigation includes better application of science and engineering in retrofitting the structures, providing education to people, and providing better building practices to the nation. Okay. So this is this retrofitting and better building practices is the work of civil engineers mainly. So how they can improvise the structures that are being built, how they can reconstruct those structures, and if there are some structures that are weak, how can they retrofit it and make it strong. Okay, so these are some things that we need to understand. Now again, pause this video and learn some key points. What are the aims of disaster management? So I'll quickly go through it. To provide quick and effective communication system in each sector, implementing disaster management cycle, reporting, analyzing, monitoring risk performance, then planning and executing community and society based programs, then engaging with disaster education, training, research, adaptation, and other activities, then coordinating and collaborating with all disaster management and related organizations, integrating with other human resources and development programs. Okay. Now these are some more terms that might come up in our upcoming lectures, as well as whenever you study or whenever you hear about disaster management. Some keywords include emergency, disaster, natural, man-made, what is the resilience, what is the risk, what is the management of government and people, how is the recovery done, what are the incidents taken place. Okay, so these are some of the keywords. Now other things that are included in the scope of this subject, it includes the understanding about the subject, understanding about disaster management. Okay, traditionally what people think, they think only in terms of post disaster. Okay, that the example that I gave you for Bhuj earthquake, that earlier people just used to think post disaster, okay, something has happened, something bad has happened, now we have to work upon it, we have to take actions to provide relief and reconstruction. But now, as a student of disaster management, you should be sure and you should learn that disaster management is not just the post disaster concept. Now it is a both the things, pre disaster and post disaster. We need to prepare ourselves. Okay. Now some of these things include the relief systems, the phases, different phases for response and relief operations, the role of government, what are the different refugee assistance models, providing prevention and mitigation tools, providing tools for post disaster management, use of drones for aerial photography, remote sensing, information management, logistics, then epidemiology. So these are some other things that come in the scope of the disaster management. We will learn throughout this course in the upcoming lectures. Okay. Now this is the pyramid diagram which depicts the role of government and various agencies at the national level as well as at the state level. So starting from the center, I have taken this example of the Australian government. The things are similar even for the Indian scenario. So there is a department at the central level, and in India it is headed by Prime Minister. Prime Minister directly heads the disaster management system for the entire nation. Then there are some state level disaster coordination centers. Then there are district level disaster coordination centers, and then finally some local level disaster coordination group. The local government consists of panchayats and other things. State governments consist of state governments as it is in our system as well, and the central government. So for our case it will be the Indian government. We'll not be going much in detail with the course of textile engineering, but as a separate video for the ones who will be learning about the disaster management with regards to civil engineering syllabus, it will be helpful for them. So that will be coming up in the later stage. Now what will be the outcomes of this course? Okay, so we'll be able to provide some appropriate actions at all points in this cycle, leading to greater preparedness, better warnings and reduced vulnerabilities, prevention of disasters during the next iteration. Okay, so we'll prepare ourselves, we'll provide better warnings, we'll try to reduce the vulnerabilities, hazards, and we'll try to learn from the past and implement it so that in the next disaster the losses and the damages are less. Then the complete this DM cycle includes the shaping of public policies, plans that modify the causes of disaster. Okay, then capacity to obtain, analyze and communicate information on risk, relief needs and lessons learned from earlier disasters. Okay, now again to end, I am again presenting another set of words, keywords that are part of disaster management. Pause this and have a look what are the different things which play a big role in part of disaster management. So thanks for this lecture, watching this lecture. Okay, in the next lecture we'll be covering the second unit. We'll be starting the second unit and we'll try to understand the terms of hazards and disasters and some classifications. Okay, so that's all for this lecture. Thank you for watching and please see the next lecture. Okay, thank you.